Hi, everyone. Very, very good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. I always like to say that because in the virtual world, we are not separated by space, but time zones. So this is Rob from The Drunken Grape, and we have a very playful discussion today with the great Jennifer Simonetti-Bryan, Master of Wine, fourth female Master of Wine from the United States, and one out of about 350 presently on the globe. Massive achievement. But we're going to get away from the serious today, and this is something that's fun. It's like, what if actors and celebrities were wine or spirits? What would they be? This is a short run. It's a lot of fun. Jennifer, do you want to kick it off? I know that you've been itching to do this for a little bit because it is fun and it brings a bit of humor to the wine world.
It does. Whenever I do training for people, one of the things I do is trying to bring things back to things that people understand. So when I try to explain a big, bold, rich wine, I try to liken it to or a masculine character that's got rich structure. I try to put a face to it. And if something's got, like, I used to qualify, let's say in like a big, bold California Chardonnay. It's got low acids and it's got like round edges. So it's, it's full, it's round. And I think it's like Marilyn Monroe, right? And then I would look at, let's say, a Chablis and think, okay, this is very linear. It's light body.
It's lean.
It's got some angles to it. So maybe like an Audrey Hepburn. So I'm trying to, put a face to the structure of it, but obviously this isn't a science. It's just trying to make you point to elements of structure of the wine, and maybe even some flavors, because things, if certain people are a little spicy, maybe a little spicy wines and, or spicy actors in there somewhere. So people understand people are different and how they are different, and they can appreciate how their structure is different and how they are in personality. And the same thing goes for wine. So.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I mean, even to lead this off, if I think of leading women or the grand dames of Hollywood, you think of somebody like Judi Dench.
Oh, yeah.
And I think of layered, complex, vibrant, elegant, yet there's some weight and body because there's weight and body to her character, her persona, her personality. I think of you think of white Burgundy and you think of something like Merceau, for instance, because
that's a good call.
It's rich in a glass. And it's a great wine. It's got a lot of layers, a lot of flavors to it, and the range. And I think Judi Dench just fits that bill.
Absolutely. And layers of complexity. And I mean, Merceau is one of my favorite wines, but I like the analogy there because she definitely has very classy, right? So white Burgundy, very classy. And Merceau is known for kind of its broad structure. I mean, we're not calling her fat. Okay. So this is not what we're doing. So we're going to get away from, women's actual structure, but, so, because I can see her PR agent calling us going, stop saying big. So yeah, so it's a broad structure, but she's got, so much depth to her acting ability. She has so much depth to her personality and her character. And that really does match Merceau. I like that. I like that a lot.
What about Helen Mirren? What are your thoughts on her? There's another A-list celebrity, I think refined. I think with her, there's more of a serious or pointed character to her, but there's a twist
like
with humor. There's a bit of humor.
Like Pouligny-Montrachet. Yeah. Pouligny-Montrachet is, so we're in the same class.
Yes.
Same area.
But now we're grand cru. Yeah.
Angular structure, more angular structure, a little bit more linear in its focus. Although, to be honest, Helen Mirren's just had a huge range of roles over the years, so don't know about that.
Yeah, and you think of if you think of that wine too, you think of the writer of the Three Musketeers. Is it Alexandre Dumas?
Dumas. Yeah.
And he said you drink that with kneeling down while you're drinking it. And I think of Helen Mirren's roles in some of her movies where she plays a sterling executive, or she's at some type of level of nobility.
The queen.
The queen. You think of this wine right away. It's at the top of the list. I mean, you're looking at a list, probably amongst the very, very, well, definitely amongst the elite and the very best of Chardonnay on the planet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean,
I tried it. I've had it, and I was blown away by it. I mean, it's just that the flavors that hover in your mouth for minutes. It's kind of like these actresses, you know, you walk away from them being on the set, and you're just an hour later, you're still going, wow, what a great performance.
yeah. Oh, that's a great analogy because like, so it's got length to it. So after the movie is over, you're still thinking
You're
about
still
it.
stewing.
I'm
Yeah.
sitting with you. Yeah, no, I get it. I totally get it.
Another person we can't leave out on the A list, you know, of actresses, Meryl Streep. Think of her
Oh,
range, think of her diversity, think of stylistically where she has gone as an actress.
wow. I mean,
Humor, serious roles, movies like Kramer versus Kramer with Dustin Hoffman back in the 70s. I mean, it's incredible that she's been, what, 5 decades on stage and
yeah.
in theater and
Maybe
in
not a
big film.
specific wine, maybe a grape itself, but it would have to be a grape of great diversity. So,
Riesling,
good call. Okay, I like that. Yeah, because you can have it be sweet, it could
dry.
be dry, it could be acrid. I mean, you look at Eden Valley or Clare Valley Rieslings of Australia that are very, very pointed, and then you have
With good acidity.
softer
Yeah.
versions, and really
Yeah.
complex ones and very easygoing ones. So I like that. Yeah, she would probably be yeah, good call. I like it. I like
What
that
about
one.
Drew Barrymore? I know she's got a Pinot Grigio
I
that
was,
she owns a vineyard, but you know, I think lively, I think playful, sociable. You know, if you think of movies like Almost Famous and that, she's just instantly likable.
yeah, yeah, and Ever After. So there's a little bit of it's just so she's definitely got some range, but there's a kind of bubbly, sparkly kind of thing going on. So a prosecco might be a
Yeah,
good call.
yeah.
Um,
You know, it's something that just brings life to a party. It's easy, it's flexible, not too complex, but has depth. I just think of
yeah,
something like that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No, this is cool.
yeah,
Nicole Kidman.
yeah. Nicole Kidman. Wow. I she has had some very complex roles, and she's also had some very serious roles, but she's also
Yeah.
had some very fun roles. I mean, she was in Top Gun. No, she wasn't in Top Gun. She was in the other one with Tom Cruise. Oh, she was in a few with Tom Cruise actually. The one with the cars. The one with the
Oh
cars.
yeah. No.
Yeah, and then she was in the one where they were both from Ireland, and oh, so many things going on. So there's got to be complex. It's got to have range, but so you've got fun, but you've also got serious as well. So
Champagne.
I like it. I like it.
La
Good
Grande
one.
Dame, something independent
Grandam.
like Veuve Clicquot, you know, Barb
Yeah.
Nicole Porcelain, you know, I think I said her name.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. But I always confuse it sometimes between Nicole Barb and Barb Nicole. I don't know why. So it's like subtle dyslexia when I think of her name, but
No,
it's,
that's okay.
but you think of it, yeah, you think that there's, you know, there's depth there, there's independence, there's
Yeah.
flair, there's elegance, there's
Yeah.
definitely
And
shining
classic.
and radiant beauty in a classic.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And
And Kate,
wasn't she in Aquaman? She was like the mom. She was actually kicking butt as well. So that kind of reminds me of the widow Clicquot. So we're coming back to our last episode of badasses in wine.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so then yeah, so a good call. I think I like that one. I like that one a lot.
On the
So
last list of women, what about Kate Hudson? I know we were sort of shooting the breeze about her a little bit. I thought of a Fleury Beaujolais, you know, I think playful, colorful, um, comes out at the
soft.
right time, soft,
Mm-hmm.
finesseful, feminine.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one. I think going in the opposite end of the spectrum, looking at some of the very powerful actors in terms of men. Like a lot of times when I've talked about Bordeaux, I've talked about the James Bond characters. You know, the actors who have played James Bond. So trying to think of like a Poyak,
I think
that
of Michael
has,
Caine almost when I think of stuff like that.
oh, that's a good one. That's a good, he
You
wasn't
know,
James Bond, but that's a good call though. That's, I like that. But you know, looking at certain actors, you can see it because a lot, there are certain men that take like really serious roles and they've got some edges to them and all of that. Like Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig,
yes.
I think of like something that's got, as a James Bond, he's not like Roger Moore. He's not like soft and kind of,
No, and he's
oh,
not comedic. He's more serene, stark, tough,
yeah, he's edgy. Daniel Craig, he's
edgy.
edgy. So I would think like a Barolo, you know, that's
Yeah,
what,
that's a
it's
great
along
choice.
those lines.
It's a great
Yeah.
choice because it's also kind of two-sided in the sense that what you get in the aroma of a glass often is very different on the palate. And
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like the way Daniel Craig portrays James Bond.
Oh,
So he's got this really tough, rugged side, but then
mm-hmm.
you see this very humane side on people who matter,
Yeah.
you know, and women in
There's
particular. He's
depth.
got a soft spot for, a very soft spot for women, a depth with women.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
he's actually very compassionate on that front.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
Mm-hmm.
a
But
flip
don't mess with
coin.
him
It's a,
because you got the structure
but
and
don't
the
mess with him
acid,
because he's,
you know, the tannin
yes,
and the acid that goes right through. So
and tough.
yeah, and
Yeah, yeah.
tough.
How about Arnie? You know, we can't think of something like this without Schwarzenegger in
Yeah,
the
well, you
mix.
know, he's kind of tough. So if you're thinking about his early days versus, you know, later days, I think, you know, the early movies, because I mean, you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger and you think of, you know, Austria, because he's from Austria. It's like, but unfortunately, there's no Austrian reds that that
Not
really,
ones of note, anyway. No.
yeah, anyway. So they're not that beefy. They're not that beefy. Like I think of movies like Predator, which is like one of my favorite movies of all
Or
time.
Commando when he's dagging Sully off the
So
cliff
over,
because you
oh my
told me
God.
you'd kill me last.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, let's go. Yeah, you can almost think something big and bold like his native state, you know, California. You
California,
think
yeah.
of Napa, Cab Sauv. I know we were commenting on this before the show, but you're thinking about as he's gotten older, he's become a little more um, he's more range and depth.
Mm-hmm.
He's got more maturity. He's no longer
Yeah,
just coming across as a straight thug on TV or on the
right.
big screen.
So we're
What about
not
something
looking at
like a
Hell Mountain cab. So Hell Mountain
no?
would be too austere. And I think maybe certain valley floor areas. So
I
maybe a
was thinking that.
Rutherford cab. Maybe that would be, you know, more
Yeah,
appropriate.
no, this
Yeah.
is playful. I hope the audience is enjoying this. We'd also be interested to know what favorite actors would you think of that would fit in with your favorite wine or spirit portfolio. Thinking of spirits, you had an awesome bourbon recently, and it made you think of Sam Elliott. It makes me think of Roadhouse. You know, the rugged
Oh, yeah.
Midwestern
Oh,
behavior, the gunslinging, gun-toting
Sam
Sam
Elliott. Oh,
Elliott, the
my goodness.
betrayal.
Oh,
Like
my God.
he walks around like he's an ace poker player in a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
ways. You think about it. And I think,
Absolutely.
and you made a great comparison there earlier. We're setting this up bourbon.
Oh, yeah, and here's the thing is Sam Elliott, and you're thinking of his character. There's the length there. There's layers of complexity that I don't think people give bourbon enough credit for. I mean, yeah, you've got some bourbons that you're, you know, kicking back and all that kind of stuff, but
Yeah,
the really good bourbons, like I had a single barrel Four Roses bourbon not too long ago, and oh
fantastic.
God, it blew my mind. I mean, so good, so good. So yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, I like that.
How about Anthony Hopkins? I think of a Louis the 13th cognac.
Louis XIII. Yeah, it's smooth.
It's
A lot
50
of
to 100 eau de
smoothness
vie
there.
combined in there, brandy, and you think of all the multi complexity of all these layers in a glass, the richness of it, and it feels like you're sipping on time. It's something
Yeah,
that's old,
it's like a time
refined, but
capsule.
wise beyond its years.
Yeah.
I think of the great Sir Anthony Hopkins on that one.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good call. I was tasting Louis XIII out of barrel in Cognac, and I remember
Wow.
sitting
I had
there.
it at a friend's house.
Oh, you had it, friends. I remember
$5,000 a bottle here in Canada.
it's a lot, yeah. But as I was sipping this glass, I was actually sitting there. I'm looking at this glass, going, when the grapes were picked, the earliest grapes that were picked that were in this barrel, Teddy Roosevelt was in office. Like, you
Yeah,
know, it
nuts like
blows your mind.
100 years old.
Yeah.
And isn't it the first time cognac was delimited as a region was under Louis XIII because of his love for it? You may correct me on this one, but I had read something along those lines. I know it comes from the Champagne region, does it not? Or some of the grapes, or it's the Champagne.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
Champagne, yeah, Champagne, Grand Champagne, Petit Champagne, yeah, yeah. So there's but I think more is about it's kind of the fractional blending of time and years over over 100 years, and that's
And
really
that's
what.
just wild. And it's 1,200 different, it can be up to 1,200 different brandies in the blend.
Yeah,
I read that. That's just, it's nuts. And I
yeah.
think Hopkins, I think layers, complexity, a time capsule,
I mean,
the
look at all the roles that he's
incredible
played.
finesse of it all on top of its big, bold character. You think I could light a cigar with this at the same time. I just think of the
Absolutely.
great Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of his more finesse-driven roles and less about his, Hannibal Lecter role. But even as Hannibal Lecter, there was a finesse to him. I mean, other than the fact of him killing people, he had a finesse to him always. So I think that's very, very good call. Yeah.
What about Leonardo DiCaprio? We can almost fit him in a kind of a Napa Cab Sauv character too, or something, along those lines. He's kind of intense. He can be a bit serene. He's bold.
Leonardo DiCaprio. See, but there's another one, just like looking at his earlier days and the Titanic days versus
That's true. Where he had this
um,
romantic soft side. Now he plays gangsters.
yeah, gangsters or was it Insurrection? One of those movies where it was like sci-fi. It was all kinds of
Oh, Inception.
Inception. No, thank you,
Inception.
thank you. Yeah, Inception, Insurrection. What am I thinking of? But Inception. So yeah, that like that. So there's a lot of range there as well. So maybe he would be maybe another grape. Hmm.
I mean, there's so many you can play with. This is the fun with things like this. I was trying to
Yeah,
play around with Joe Rogan, and I thought of a Bruley, more of a Bruley Beaujolais. It's kind of earthy and grounded, yet it has a bit of this lively character to it.
and
And I think
it
Joe
does have a class
Rogan,
to it. So it's approachable, but it does have a bit of a class to it. Yeah.
yeah, because also with Joe, I mean, he's intellectually, there's a huge amount of depth there, but
Mhm.
up front, there's a simplicity to Joe too. He comes in
Yeah.
casual clothes and his podcast, has a hat, smokes a joint half the time. I mean, you think about these things, and I just think Joe Rogan. I'm a huge fan of Rogan, but I just think something along that lines. But the cool thing about this is there's no really there's no right or wrong answer. There's a whole range of them that you can play with here.
Yeah, as long as you've got some really good points, you can have people going, "Hey, that's fair. That's fair."
Yeah, no, it's cool. I think that's about it though. I think we covered off quite a few
Yeah, I
fun
mean, there's so
cast of
many actors and
characters.
actresses in so little time, but I'm sure you guys out there, you guys know of lots of actors and actresses that we haven't even considered or thought about. Um, yeah, I mean,
And you know what? It's incredible because games like this help you learn and help you play and help you develop a little more skill in the complex world of wine and spirits. And
and
obviously,
help you
with
remember.
you being at the top of it and running very structured and brilliant academic programs, there's in your videos you have a zest of a playful character with so much knowledge, and it kind of ties and parlays into this. It's very much
Anything like
something that
mnemonic
can
devices,
engage.
anything that can help you remember stuff, either for exams or when you're enjoying things, anything that can create that link for you is going to help. So yeah, so the more
Awesome.
fun, the better.
Well, listen, you're always a blast. I know we have you in an upcoming series too, Grapes versus Grain, the two masters. We're going to have the master of wine with the master of beer.
Oh, that's going to be
That's
fun.
coming up on the platform. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to reach out to Jennifer. Is it Simonetti or Simonetti? I always get this wrong in
It's
Ukraine.
Simonetti, rhymes with spaghetti.
Simonetti. Okay, Jennifer Simonetti-Bryan, make sure to reach out to her. She owns a brilliant company called Master Wine Online. You can out to her on LinkedIn as well. She's fairly active on those platforms. Twitter, I believe. You've got a huge following. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever you decide to do, we've just showcased here that things like wine, if you get into spirits, even beer training, it's not all serious. And the trouble with being all serious is you'll never have fun doing it. So make sure you engage in fun. The quick question is, what would you like to see next in a fun-filled podcast? Please let me know. You can always reach out to me. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you decide to do, have a fantastic day. This is Rob from The Drunken Great.